The following program is being brought to you on the Voice America Variety Channel. For more information about our network and to check our additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit voiceamericavariety.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit voiceamerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the following program are strictly those of the host or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management.
Welcome to Crime Prevention 101. We're so happy you joined us this week. Over the next hour, you'll learn the tips, tricks, and vital information that will help you keep yourself confident and safe. Now, here's your host, Susan Bartelstone.
If you have children, what are the scariest decisions that you'll ever have to make? Now, I don't have any, but I've got plenty of friends that do. And over the years, I've spoken to plenty of parents. And I don't care if the kids are very young, if they're teens or college age. I'm betting that the scariest decisions concern when and how to give your kids independence from you, when to start letting go, how much freedom to give them to help them grow to adulthood. Now, I heard about a child-rearing philosophy that's new to me. It may not be all that new, but it is gaining a lot of followers. And it describes today's parents as invasive helicopters, always hovering above their kids, or snowplows, they call them, trying to remove all the obstacles from their kids' path to adulthood. And one of the proponents of this philosophy said that this makes children infantilized wimps, neurotic, dependent, unable to cope with failures and setbacks in life. And they say that these kids are being smothered by concerns about germs and diseases and common childhood injuries like scraped knees. And for the purpose of my show, they talk about what they term really remote personal safety dangers. And I just make a note of that phrase. And I read an article by one proponent of this parenting philosophy about how she let her 9-year-old son, and not a daughter, by the way, start riding the New York subways at that age, and other New York City subways, I might add, not just New York, but other public transportation, how he spends his days playing in the streets and the parks, public places, but unsupervised, in order to foster this independence. Now, I'm from New York City. I'm a grown-up. I've got years of self-defense training. And I want to tell you something. I don't love the subways. I don't really like riding them. So this statement, this philosophy, gave me pause. And I guess the question I'm asking you tonight, should you put your child in what could be considered harm's way on the gamble that if nothing bad happens to him, it will make him a stronger adult? And today we're going to deal with this difficult and emotional topic, balancing the personal safety of your children with the need to let your kids become independent, sane, and happy. And I certainly have my own opinion about it, although I'm trying to keep an open mind. And to hash it out with me is my buddy, Irene Zande, founder of the self-defense organization Kidpower, which has easily taught over 100,000 kids and teens and adults all over the world how to take reasonable precautions and the kind of skills that will empower them. And she's going to have tips for you, parents, what you can do to help your kids become empowered without being smothering or overly intrusive. And of course, we've got our true crime report to open up the show, and I'm talking with Edgar award-winning author Burl Barer. And last but not least, we're going to speak with Joyce Van Houten, who's the program coordinator of the Boise area Crime Stoppers, and we're going to try to help them catch a criminal. I'm Susan Bartelstone. This is Crime Prevention 101. Welcome, and we're coming to you live from New York City tonight. And, it's cooled off here considerably since last week. So let's heat it up with a hot, hot show tonight. And what boils the blood more than a true crime report? So let's meet Burl Barer. And he says on his website that he investigates murder, mayhem, and other aspects of popular culture, including his own life. And his blog is Burl Barer, a brilliant author. And he's also a blogger on one of my favorite blogs, InColdBlog. Hi, Burl. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I am so excited about what we're talking about. But before we get into this, you've written a lot of books.
Yeah, it's about 10 or 12, depending on what language you speak. I have one that's only in Japanese, and I don't even read and write Japanese.
Oh, wow. Is that one going to be coming over here soon, or?
No, it was actually, it wasn't a true crime book. It was a novelization, a novel based on the motion picture Stealth that was done specifically for Japan. I wrote it in English, and it was translated into Japanese. So, in addition to my regular books that have been translated into about 7 languages, none of which I speak or read, I have enough trouble just with English, thank God for spell checkers.
All right, and you're also a blogger, and you do radio also. Right?
Yes, I started off as a rock and roll radio disc jockey, and then one day I woke up and said, I think I'll become a famous author. And made an easy transition.
There you were. All right, well, let's talk about the book we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to have you back maybe 9 other times here. But the book we're going to talk about tonight is called Mom Said Kill, and this is a really sick story.
Oh, it really is. You have Barbara Opal, who is the mother, promises her, at the time, 13-year-old daughter a brand new dirt bike if she and her little friends will murder Barbara's employer. And I'll tell you one thing, the kid didn't get the dirt bike.
Thank goodness. But back up a little bit. Now, this employer, she was a homeless person, or she was in a shelter or something when this guy took her in. Talk about how she ended up in this employ and what she was supposed to do. He was really good to her.
Well, the fellow that was murdered, Jerry Hyman, was a very likable chap, retired from Boeing Company up in the Northwest, and he had terminal cancer. He also had a mother suffering from Alzheimer's. Jerry decided it was most important to take care of his mother, and so he sold the home. He bought another one that was much more suited to her, and he needed someone to help take care of Mom. Well, Barbara Opal's daughter, Heather, and they had met this fellow at the Dairy Queen, actually, had been helping him with his mom, very kindly doing so. And he offered to Barbara to move into his basement with Barbara and her 3 children and be the caretaker for his Alzheimer's-afflicted mother. And on that particular job, I must say they did it very well. The grandmother, as they call grandma, as they called her, loved the kids. The kids took good care of her. Barbara took good care of the house. However, Barbara wanted that $40,000 sitting in Jerry's bank account. And so she plotted to have Jerry killed so she could get her hands on that money. She didn't do the murder directly. She approached several other people and finally settled on putting together a ragtag group of teenagers, including her own daughter, to kill this fellow quite brutally. But one thing you must understand is that Barbara is not the brightest bulb in the true crime chandelier. She never thought of what to do after the fellow was dead. This is one of the defenses. If you're planning to kill someone and take their money, you'd run away with it. She didn't go anywhere except down the street to a motel, driving around town with a U-Haul trailer full of stuff. She's not a very bright woman, but she was obsessive about killing this fellow and getting his money, and she had her young daughter and some other kids do it for her.
And this daughter was 13 at the time.
Yeah, well, she turned 14 just about the time of the murder, and this daughter was a brilliant student in school, an accomplished sports star at the school, very well liked, a wonderful kid. The mother was known, I don't know what language I could use, but she was not known as being, shall we say, the nicest person on the planet. And everyone did everything they could to kind of protect or shield the daughter from the mother. The mother was incredibly a dominant force in the child's life. What Mom said, you did, no arguments. The entire culture was a family culture, was doing everything possible not to upset Mom. You just do what Mom says. Mom says kill, you kill.
Jeez. And wasn't the reward supposed to be something like a dirt bike? The kid wanted a bike or something to that?
Yes, the promise was, if you help kill Jerry, I'll buy you a brand new dirt bike.
Unbelievable.
And the promise made to the other. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, and it was a very, as you said, a very brutal murder.
Yes, Jerry came home, walked in the door. There were kids waiting for him with baseball bats. They beat him with baseball bats, and then little Heather came up from downstairs with a butcher knife, stabbed him several times, and then her best friend, Miriam, crushed the poor fellow's skull with a final baseball bat to the head.
So just unbelievable to me, you know, good student, athlete, everything else, and all of a sudden just turned into a stone killer. I hope they're all safely away forever.
The mom was put away forever. The kid, I think, got 25 years. She was 14 at the time. The eldest kid involved was 17, then 18. I think it was 18 by the time of the murder, so he got 50 years as an adult. The kids ranged in age, the participants. Of course, the youngest was 7, who helped clean up the brains and the blood off the wall, but she wasn't charged with anything.
My God. Well, that's another really ruined kid, though. Unbelievable. Well, you got a new one coming out?
Very tragic story.
Yeah, it was an awful story. I want to leave it. Let's talk about the next project. What's coming up? Fatal Beauty's coming up for you?
Yes, Fatal Beauty comes out in January of 2011 from Pinnacle True Crime and available for advance order. That was just covered on the TV show Snapped. That's about Rhonda Glover, exceptionally beautiful, beauty queen, rodeo star, very gregarious, outgoing. For 15 years, she was the girlfriend of multimillionaire oil guy Jimmy Jost, who was a very calm, passive sort of fellow. Rather tumultuous relationship. They had a child. And she killed him by shooting him 13 times with a Glock 9mm handgun. She claimed self-defense, and at the trial, it was never allowed to be mentioned the real reason why she killed him, which is in the book, and I will share it with you. Are you ready?
Okay.
Brace yourself. The real reason she killed him was that she firmly believed that he and George W. Bush were conducting pagan sacrifices in a cave under her house and having homosexual sex with clones.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, you know what?
Now, you think the GOP had PR problems before? That's a real big one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think I know where this is going. And you know what? You're going to come back when that book comes out, for sure, if not, and certainly before then.
Well, you know, she couldn't claim insanity because under the law, if you know it's against the law to kill somebody, you're not insane. So she couldn't claim insanity.
All right, this one sounds even more interesting. Burl, give out your website.
Well, there's two they should know. One is burlbarer.net. That's BURLBARER.net. And the other one that's related to our True Crime Uncensored radio show is outlawcrime.com.
All right. Thank you so much for being with me today. This is Crime Prevention 101. The radio show with an optimistic perspective on a sober subject. Now, is it really okay to drop your 9-year-old kid off in the park in the morning, leave him there all day, and maybe have him take the subway or bus home all by himself? We're going to talk about this and more when we come back.
News, opinion. Can you hear me? Your voice counts. Call toll free 1-866-472-5787. 1-866-472-5787. VoiceAmerica.com. After more than 17 years' experience teaching safety skills to thousands of women and men, crime prevention and personal safety expert Susan Bartelstone concluded that by thinking and responding quickly, ideally within 20 seconds, potentially violent criminal encounters can be prevented. Using techniques from many different disciplines and illustrated by 60 real-life examples and success stories, Susan shows how it's done in her new book, Think Fast and Prevent a Violent Crime: How to Respond to Danger in 20 Seconds or Less. Check out www.crimeprevention101.com for more information.
Do you need directions to solid financial future? If so, the Money Answers Show with Jordan Goodman will provide you with a roadmap to making smart money decisions in every area of your personal finances. Join Jordan every Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern for the Money Answers Show on the Voice America Business Channel. Learn how and where to get the best deals on mortgages, cars, and insurance. Find out the best ways to save for college and retirement. Get out of debt, improve your credit rating, and save on your taxes. The Money Answers Show with Jordan Goodman will provide you with great tips on investment opportunities in real estate, stocks, annuities, and other investment vehicles. That's the Money Answers Show with Jordan Goodman on the Voice America Business Channel every Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
The Marsh Engel Show. Join the movement to empower yourself with the essentials of feminine power and success, and learn how women around the world are becoming more inspired, more influential, and absolutely amazing. Each week, Marsh sits down for an engaging conversation with women who are boldly committed to living their most amazing life. You'll discover ways to step into your greatest vision, deepen your relationships, and unleash your real creative brilliance. Get ready. It's time to jump into the conversation. That's Monday afternoons at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern for the Marsh Engel Show on the Voice America Business Network.
Have questions about wind power? Listen for the TLG Wind Power Hour with Terry from TLG Wind Power Products. He'll cover the ins and outs of wind energy with you, whether you're a do-it-yourselfer or want a ready-made product. Let Terry give you the know-how and understanding of making wind energy work for you. Terry will share decades of hands-on experience so that you don't have to learn about wind power the hard way. The TLG Wind Power Hour, live every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific Time on the Green Talk Network. Streaming live, the leader in Internet talk radio, VoiceAmerica.com.
You're listening to Crime Prevention 101 with Susan Bartelstone. Susan would like to remind you that no absolutes exist in a crime scenario, and no advice can possibly address every variable. Each situation should be evaluated individually and responded to in a way you instinctively judge best. It's Susan's aim on this show to provide you with the information and options that will help you make that instinctive assessment quickly and safely. And if you're already a survivor of the kind of crime we're talking about on the show today, or any other crime for that matter, please remember that there are no right or wrong responses in a criminal encounter, and nothing that happened to you was your fault. Even if you think you used bad judgment in a situation and left yourself vulnerable, that's never an excuse for a crime or for violence. So please, call yourself a survivor, not a victim, and understand that with time, distance, and the proper professional help, you can put what happened into perspective and get on with your life. If you'd like to share your stories, tips, or suggestions for topics you'd like us to cover, send your comments to solutions@fightsafe.com, and Susan may address some of them on future shows. That email address again, solutions@fightsafe.com. Now, back to Crime Prevention 101.
Hi, Susan Bartelstone here, and there's plenty of show left to tune in for, so please start tweeting about us, send out the IMs, and don't forget you can follow me on Twitter, you can follow me on Facebook. I have over 4,000 friends now, and I would love to have you join the party too. Now, I want to introduce you to my next guest, Irene van der Zande, and let me tell you just a little bit about her because her background really ties in with what we're talking about. 20 years ago, Irene actually had to fend off an attacker who was threatening her children, and she did it with guts and instinct and prevented this attack from escalating. But it left her with the determination to do something that would help people, and especially children, learn how to face this and other personal safety situations and make them safer and more confident. And to that end, she co-founded an organization called Kidpower and now serves as its executive director. And this is the second time she's been on the show. Back in 2008, when she was on the first time, Kidpower had 11 centers in the U.S., 2 in Canada, and 10 internationally, including in New Zealand, Pakistan, India, and Europe. And I'm sure they've got more now. We'll talk to her about that. And if you would like to weigh in on the conversation with Irene and I, we'd love to have you. And that call-in number is 866-472-5787. So, hi, Irene. It is great to have you back on the show.
Well, hi, Linda. It's great to be here.
Well, Susan, but that's
I'm
okay.
Susan. I'm sorry. Hello. Where is my brain today?
All right. Well, Irene, let me start off by reading you an article that I read in the paper, just a synopsis of it, a couple of weeks ago, which kind of gave me the idea to put this segment in. There's a proponent of this non-intrusive child-rearing philosophy that was quoted here, and she said that she wants to start something called Take Our Children to the Park and Leave Them There Day. And she said there used to be an ancient thing called play, explaining that she's working to restore the practice of letting kids be kids. Get outside, be alone, and entertain themselves. Now, if I saw something called Take Your Kids to the Park and Leave Them Day, if I was a predator, I would call this Predator's Paradise in the Park Day. And this whole thing just gave me the willies. And, really, really churns my guts. What do you think about this?
One of the things that I teach people to be aware of is what I call the illusion of safety. People have a vested interest in believing that situations are safe until something horrible happens, and they create bubbles. This is why so many kids drown in swimming pools, for example. Mm-hmm. Is people think it's safe, they think they've protected the child from getting into the pool, and they're wrong. And once you're wrong, it's too late. Or the child has had a bad experience at best and maybe a tragedy at worst. I believe
exactly.
Something like dropping kids off, there are so many dangers. Kids can be hurtful to each other. Kids can get hurt. Kids need supervision and support until they're ready to stay in charge of their safety independently. And I believe that it's a mistake to not give them that.
I do kind of give this parenting philosophy some points in terms of maybe we are a little overprotective regarding germs or dirt, or allowing kids to fall and skin their knees, or break their arm, or many kind of childhood things that they will survive and they will maybe they will grow stronger. But I don't think you can take personal safety threats too lightly. And while I do agree that there are far more, decent people out there, but there's a huge amount of perverts out there, a huge amount. And you can't, you can't really take this too lightly.
I think that, ever since we started, our goal has been to balance the children's drive and need for healthy independence with keeping them safe, and to not deprive them of fun experiences, to not take that away, you have to take some risks in life. You can't put children in a bubble and never let them out of it. But just as with the germs, there's a difference between being, teaching kids to wash their hands, for example, before they eat, is just good, practical hygiene and protects them from germs most of the time. Trying to keep children away
Irene,
from all germs.
I agree. We got a caller. Let's talk to James. Hello, James.
Hello.
Hi. Did you want
Susan,
to ask
how are you?
Irene or myself a question?
Actually, I was curious. I know you're going to have Burl Barer on, and I was
you
curious.
missed him.
Yeah, I was just. Oh, I did.
He was on the first segment.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm sure I didn't miss much. But my question, Susan, was: has Burl ever slept on your couch?
Not mine. No.
No.
Did he sleep on yours?
Well,
okay.
I'll check back in a week. Thank you.
I'll tell you what you can do. Go tune in after this show is over. It'll be on the archives, and you can catch his segment. It was a very interesting segment. But thanks for calling. All right, Irene.
Okay, back to...
That was my first guest, and he was good. And I hope James does call him back. But
right.
Irene, when I had sent out the press on this show, I went back to look up some of the statistics. And I saw that one of these things, there were 400,000 sex offenders who are registered in the United States, and an estimated 80 to 100,000 of them are missing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I realize that 400,000 out of the millions of people that we have in this country might not seem a lot, but to me, that's pretty significant, and those are the ones we know about.
That's right.
And the 100,000 missing, they're going to be in the park on Take Your Kid to the Park and Leave Them Day. And we'll that's where we'll find these. We should run these phony ones and have the police there.
Well, there's an idea.
I like that. A couple of other statistics that I picked up. There were 797, almost 800,000 children younger than 18 were reported missing.
Yes.
You know, do you really? How remote is this? This is really not, to me, remote. 2,000, over 200,000 children are reported missing every day. Now, you and I are in the business. We hear these stories every day. You know, maybe to someone who doesn't have the framework that we come from, it might seem like these personal safety things are remote, but you know, we know there isn't. We know we've also been personally. We both had incidents where we've faced attackers. So you kind of change your perspective when that happens.
Well, it certainly does, and you know, I get annoyed because of course those statistics they'll say yes, but most of them got found, most of them were not harmed. But if you've ever had a child lost for even a minute, if it's a young child, your adrenaline just goes right out the window. And when something is less, but it's still, you know, they say there's only a couple hundred kids who are actually killed. But years ago, when there was Ray's syndrome with aspirin and the flu, and a couple dozen kids died because of it, we changed completely how we treated fever in children because it was unacceptable that even a few dozen kids would die in a way that could be prevented. And I get so annoyed when people say, well, it's just a couple hundred kids, when it can be prevented. And, of course, there's more than 100,000 attempted abductions by strangers every year. And having been, you know, when something like that happens, the fear that it creates in a neighborhood or a school community affects everyone.
All right, well, so now that's the crucial point. And we're going to address that kind of fear and what we can do about it without being helicopters, without being snowplows. Irene, stick around with me. I want when we come back, I want you to give some tips to the parents in the audience how to balance independence and personal safety with empowerment skills. Okay. We'll be right back.
Talk. That's all we do is talk.
Yeah!
If you'd like to talk, call us toll-free right now at 1-866-472-5787. 1-866-472-5787. That's it. VoiceAmerica.com.
Dialogue is the single most powerful leadership tool we have to make a difference in the world. Leading Conversations with host Cheryl Esposito creates a place for that dialogue. Tune into the Voice America Business Channel every Friday as Cheryl hosts new conversations among leaders from around the world in business, government, art, economics, and social change. We'll explore big ideas and everyday actions and learn how their own leadership has led them to discover a newfound sense of possibility in the world. Leading Conversations with Cheryl Esposito, bringing big thinkers together in conversations that make a difference, right here on the Voice America Business Channel every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
After more than 17 years' experience teaching safety skills to thousands of women and men, crime prevention and personal safety expert Susan Bartelstone concluded that by thinking and responding quickly, ideally within 20 seconds, potentially violent criminal encounters can be prevented. Using techniques from many different disciplines and illustrated by 60 real-life examples and success stories, Susan shows how it's done in her new book, Think Fast and Prevent a Violent Crime: How to Respond to Danger in 20 Seconds or Less. Check out www.crimeprevention101.com for more information.
Are you ready to go green? You've asked, and we've heard you. Voice America presents the Green Talk Network. Environmental topics are at the forefront of our society, and the Green Talk Network is here to keep you up to date on the latest trends and new innovations for the eco-conscious lifestyle. We'll help promote a variety of ideas on the environment, from global warming issues to how you can become more eco-friendly in your daily activities. Be a part of the solution, not the problem. Visit the Green Talk Network page on voiceamerica.com and tune in to help spread the green.
This ain't your mama's brain and health show. Tune in and get ready for entertainment and information about your mind and body that will really change your life. Primal Body, Primal Mind Radio is a sane departure from conventional thinking about diet, health, and the brain. Host Nora Gedgaudas will also combine humor and science to illuminate the mind and open your eyes to the principles of neurofeedback and diet, which can help you and your family live a better life. Primal Body, Primal Mind Radio airs live Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel. The Internet's #1 talk station. #1 talk station. VoiceAmerica.com.
You're listening to Crime Prevention 101 with Susan Bartelstone. We invite you to share your stories, tips, or suggestions for topics you'd like us to cover, and Susan will address some of these on future shows. Send your story or idea to solutions@fightsafe.com. That email address again is solutions@fightsafe.com. Now, back to Crime Prevention 101 with Susan Bartelstone.
This is Crime Prevention 101. I'm Susan Bartelstone, and thanks so much for being with me tonight. Now, I'm speaking with self-defense expert Irene Zande about balancing independence for your children, and not just young children, with personal safety. And for more information about Kidpower, go to www.kidpower.org. And if you'd like to speak with Irene and I about protection skills, or balancing personal safety with independence, call in at 866-472-5787. Irene, welcome back.
Thank you.
Let's talk about some tips. I want you to give some tips to parents. You've got great ideas on how parents can raise healthy kids, and you've got something called a 5-step process. Talk about what that is.
So this is a 5-step process for preparing children for more independence while keeping them safe. And the first step in the process is to make realistic assessments about your child in each situation. And what you want to assess is the situation itself, those specifics, and the skills of your child. So, for example, if your son wants to walk to school by himself, assessment questions might be, what's the route to school like? What are hazards? Are there crossing guards? What kinds of people might there be on the way? What kinds of places are there where he could get help? That would be about the situation. An assessment about the skills would be how aware and careful is my son? Does he get lost in daydreaming, or does he pay attention? Can he follow safety rules? If somebody challenges him, can he walk away? Can he interrupt a busy adult to get help? Can he run, yell, and get help if he's scared and defend himself if he has to? So making realistic assessments for each type of situation and that particular child. That's the first step. Second step is to learn and practice what we call people safety skills as a family. And that's people being safe with people and with each other. And those are the skills like awareness, boundary setting, being persistent in getting help, those types of skills. I mentioned quite a few already, making a safety plan for everywhere you go, protecting yourself from hurting words, being respectful and powerful at the same time, knowing how to move out of reach. So there's a range of skills.
Let me just jump in here, because I know this does sound a little obsessive, but truthfully it's not. And what you're really doing is you're programming safety responses into the child's brain, and then they don't think about it anymore. They don't think about, I have to worry about this, I have to worry about this.
Right.
They go out and about, and if something happens, they know what to do, and they don't give it any more, thought than that.
Right. It's like knowing how to swim before you get in the water, and also before you leave a child alone in the water. That might be a lot longer time, knowing how to assess what's in that body of water, and is it really safe for me to swim? That's the people safety skills, and you're right. We think it's obsessive when we break it down into small steps, but it's no more obsessive than anything else we'd want a child to be able to do. The third
Don't
step,
think about it after a while. It's second nature to respond safely.
That's right. It's just you walk with awareness, calm, and confidence, and you've practiced it, and you just do it. The third step is to co-pilot with your child to field test the use of skills in the real world. And that would be an example of co-piloting would be where you're right with the child to ask questions, so say that, I think I told you the story about when I wanted to let my 5-year-old walk across the street from a school to the school where her younger brother was staying. Before I let her do it, even though there were adults all along the way, I walked behind her and I asked her questions. If somebody stops and asks you to go with them, what would you do? What are you going to do right here? I'm going to wait for the crossing guard. And it was great because since a chain is only as strong as its weakest link, when we got to the preschool, we found that the door was closed at that hour. It was locked, and she couldn't have gotten in. So we were able to make a plan with the school so that she knew exactly what to do, and I had co-piloted with her each step of the way. We also recommend co-piloting in the context of doing things online. A lot of times there the child is the leader because the child has more technological skills than the parent. And the parent can say, take me with you. I want to see what you're doing. I want to see how this works. I want to understand. And again,
right, this co-piloting, it's not forever. This is just until you know that this child has gotten the skill down, and then you don't have to worry, and the child doesn't have to worry.
Exactly. And then for a larger type of independence, for something that involves longer time or more separation, conducting trial runs so that kids can rehearse independence and control doses and have adult backup. And an example of that was a friend of mine's 14-year-old wanted to do a camping trip by herself with her friends. And so my friend, and they'd done a lot of camping, and so what she did is she just went 2 campsites down. She wasn't right on top of them. She was there if they needed her, and she could, see what was going on from 2 campsites away. So they had the feeling of independence. They found out that it was a lot of fun, but it was not camping with an adult to help you was also an awful lot of work. And it was a good lesson. But that's a trial run. And then finally, and just as important, is to keep communication open, to keep listening, to keep checking in, and to keep reviewing. Because children are constantly changing, and situations are constantly changing. And so you want to not just say, well, I've done this all once, and now I'm going to leave it forever, but it's important. It's for your child's well-being, and so you keep asking questions. And a great sort of all-purpose question is there anything you've been wondering or worrying about that you have not yet told me?
Great question. Now, this 5-step process, is this in the new book that's coming out?
Yes, this book is just out. It's a brand new, it's a book. It's called Courageous Parents, Confident Kids, Letting Go So You Both Can Grow. And it was created by Amy Tiemann, who's a PhD and the creator of Mojo Mom. And she got 14 parenting experts, including Kidpower, and really on this theme of how to develop your courage as a parent and how to build the confidence of your kids so that kids can have that independence with safety and with confidence. Another one of the experts in there is Linda Cradell, who's the president of the Internet Safety Alliance, and she has a great chapter in there about saying yes to your child's online safety activities. And there are lots more activities. So it's Courageous Parents, Confident Kids, Letting Go So You Both Can Grow.
And Irene, I think you'll agree with me that kids that take martial arts or take self-defense classes or these empowerment classes that Kidpower gives, these are not kids that you would characterize as infantilized wimps. Not in the slightest.
They are exuberant, curious, interested, and courageous.
And I maintain this is how you've got to raise sane kids. Now, real quick, we had a caller who he wasn't able to stay on the line, but he asked whether we were for or against the new child tracking bracelets. And I'm not sure what he means. I think he's talking about what they call the child LoJack, which is something that you can put into their clothes or their backpack or whatever. And I am for anything. I don't see that makes a child wimpy. I don't see how that makes a child dependent. I don't see how it gets in that child's way. Anything that will let me know where that child is, if the worst should happen, I have no problem with any of that. Have you heard about this?
Yes, I'm aware. I have mixed feelings about all of these technological devices, and for one reason, and that is that I have found that people often find it easier to buy something like a child tracking bracelet, and rather than to actually teach and practice skills.
Good point.
And that people get dependent on the technology. Whether it's a cell phone, they'll say, "What's your safety plan if you get lost?" "Oh, I'll give my child a cell phone." Well, cell phones can get lost, bracelets can get lost, and they can get taken off. Things can get removed. A lot of times, when the worst does happen, the child's clothing is removed and other clothing is put on. And so I would rather see people put their energy into really, having learning for themselves what they can do to keep their kids safe and taking charge of the safety environments their children are in, and giving them, skills and practicing.
Yeah, give them skills. But then if you want to add an electronic anything else to it, and I certainly think kids should have cell phones, fine.
Right.
But yes, you got to give them the basic skills, because you're right that devices can get removed. So. And great point.
And then the other is that most of the people who bother children are not strangers, although obviously great harm can come from.
Also true.
But they are people they know. Often the situations they are where their parents expected to be. Often there are problems at school, And having the skills of setting boundaries, de-escalating, disengaging, and getting help can, and being persistent even when adults at first are not necessarily that helpful, can spare a child some really awful situations.
Absolutely. Not just children, but teens and college and whatever. Well,
right.
Irene, I can't believe how quickly this went. I thank you so much for being with me, and you know what? You're going to be back again. All right?
Well,
next time we've got a good issue
I'd love
like this. Okay. Well, this is Crime Prevention 101. Now, stay right where you are, because coming up, I'll be talking with Joyce Van Houten from the Boise Area Crime Stoppers, and maybe we can help them catch a criminal tonight.
Talk, talk, talk. That's all we do is talk. If you'd like to talk, call us toll-free right now at 1-866-472-5787. 1-866-472-5787. That's it. VoiceAmerica.com. After more than 17 years' experience teaching safety skills to thousands of women and men, crime prevention and personal safety expert Susan Bartelstone concluded that by thinking and responding quickly, ideally within 20 seconds, potentially violent criminal encounters can be prevented. Using techniques from many different disciplines and illustrated by 60 real-life examples and success stories, Susan shows how it's done in her new book, Think Fast and Prevent a Violent Crime: How to Respond to Danger in 20 Seconds or Less. Check out www.crimeprevention101.com for more information.
Are you a real sports fan? Get ready to talk football and anything else sports with Kwame Lassiter, formerly with the Arizona Cardinals, San Diego Chargers, and St. Louis Rams. Kwame's got the experience, so he's prepared to talk sports with you every week on Kwame Lassiter's Sports Talk. It's on the Voice America Sports Network every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time, noon Eastern Time. Get ready for unpredictable fun and sometimes a sarcastic look at the world of sports. That's Kwame Lassiter's Sports Talk on the Voice America Sports Network.
You gotta believe. Listen up. Conceive Magazine is now on the air, live and on demand on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Hosted by Kim Hahn, founder of Conceive Magazine. Conceive On Air offers comfort and emotional support to women contemplating starting or expanding their family by consulting noted professional experts and by sharing the insights and experiences of others. Kim wants to share her experiences to educate and empower women. Conceive On Air is the only complete resource destination that inspires and informs future moms about their fertility on the journey to parenthood. Conceive On Air with Kim Hahn, celebrating the creation of families.
Think of the world 50 years ago. Now think of this same world and how it'll be 50 years from now. Did you know that if the world's population continues to grow at its current rate, our children and grandchildren will only have 25% of the resources per capita that our parents and grandparents had? We must preserve the foundation of a quality standard of living. That foundation starts with Go Green Radio. Join your host, Jill Buck, for Go Green Radio every Friday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on Voice America. Stimulating talk.
It gets those synapses in the brain firing really fast.
All the time. The #1 Internet talk station where your opinion counts. VoiceAmerica.com.
You're listening to Crime Prevention 101 with Susan Bartelstone. We invite you to share your stories, tips, or suggestions for topics you'd like us to cover, and Susan will address some of these on future shows. Send your story or idea to solutions@fightsafe.com. That email address again is solutions@fightsafe.com. Now, back to Crime Prevention 101 with Susan Bartelstone.
Hello again. Yes, this is Susan Bartelstone, and I want to remind you that Crime Prevention 101 is available on iTunes. You don't even have to be at your computer to listen to all this wonderfulness. And don't forget that we also have a blog site, crimeprevention101.com, where I post links and information about show topics and about my wonderful guests. And I'm a little new to this blog site, but I'm loving it. I'm trying to get it together and make it really, really good and helpful for you. And I also want to remind you that June is Burglary Prevention Month, and that July and August are the months when the most burglaries occur. So I'm going to put some really simple burglary prevention tips on crimeprevention101.com for you, and go there and check it. Now, let's meet Janice Van Houten. She says call her Jan. Hi, Jan.
Hi, how are you?
Welcome to Crime Prevention 101.
Thank you.
Now, please tell everybody who may not know, what is Crime Stoppers?
Well, it's a community program that combines the police, the media, and the public in a cooperative crime-solving effort. And it combats two major impediments to the reporting of crime within a community. One of those is apathy by offering cash rewards, and another is fear by offering anonymity.
And that's absolutely critical.
That's correct.
They give you a means to report a crime or give information about something you may have seen, and you are in no danger at all.
You are completely anonymous. There's no caller ID, no recordings, and you never have to give your name.
That is correct. And even to collect the rewards, you don't have to give your name. They have a way of getting the information that's completely confidential.
That's right.
Now, does Boise have any special programs that you want to talk about?
Well, we have a program that we're implementing on Boise State University, where the students and the staff there are able to use Crime Stoppers to keep the campus safer.
This is so important.
Absolutely, and we're also implementing it into the high schools.
Ah, yes. And I bet this will go a long way towards stopping bullying, or, at least getting attention focused on it, because I think that's when I've done a number of programs on that, and I think it's one of the major things in high schools that we're seeing now.
Absolutely, and not only is it great that they can call the 343 COPS number, but they can also use web tips or text us.
Yes. That's a new thing, right? They don't even have to call in?
Correct. Texting and web tips is relatively new, and it's taking off like wildfire. It's very easy for them to do. They just go to our website, they can click a link and contact us immediately, and we can correspond with them anonymously.
And this is one of the things that I love. Crime Stoppers, and I've talked to maybe 10 Crime Stoppers groups so far. I really like to end my show with them, because I want people to understand that there are Crime Stoppers in almost every single state, and more than one. There's many of them in different cities, and you don't have to you're not police, correct?
That's correct.
You don't have to be police to get a Crime Stopper started. A lot of them are affiliated with the police, or they get help from the police, but you don't have to be, and I think that's really, I want to make sure that message gets out. Now, does the Boise Crime Stoppers have a particular case that you'd like some information on? I know we have listeners in your area, and maybe we can help you.
Well, we actually have a unique case that happened on the 22nd of May in the middle of the afternoon, broad daylight. Several suspects loaded two 900-pound commercial air conditioning units into the back of an older Model 10 pickup truck. And so we're looking for that truck, and we're looking for anyone who may have information on who may have taken those or what they're doing with them.
That's kind of heavy, isn't it?
900 pounds. That would take several people to move and to put into the truck. They actually made 2 trips.
That's a little flabber. I mean, I would think it would take a crane.
Well, you would think so. It's a unique item because it takes special equipment to install and should be easily recognizable, especially if they want to go recycle it or something. So we're asking anyone that has any information at all about this crime or any other crime to contact Crime Stoppers at 343-COPS or go onto our website at www.343cops.com.
Unbelievable. If you listen long enough, you hear this absolute strangest things.
That's very true.
Well, Jen, I hope we can help you find the Crime Stopper, find the criminal that took those air conditioners, and let us know if somebody does.
We certainly will.
Thank you so much for being with me tonight.
Thank you for asking us.
Okay, my pleasure. Well, we're coming down to the end of another show. I wanted to just go over. I didn't get a chance when my other guest was with me. Going back to this, letting your kids go. I read a post that really also disturbed me, and I'm going to have to ask Irene what she thinks about that. But in this post, a woman who believes in this kind of non-intrusive parenting and letting the kids go was in a playground with her 2 kids, and she observed a very harried mother with 3 kids who was trying to get the kids to leave the playground and go with her so she could do the laundry. And there was a big drama going on about this. And so finally this woman with the 2 children said, look, if you want to go, I'll watch the kids for you. And you go and do your laundry and come back. And the woman did. And you know what? I mean, you can call this anything that you like, but you don't know who that just turned my guts inside out. And I have so much problem espousing that as a return to the old ways and the old days. And, it's not the old days. And just one last note about this. Predators are often the most charming people you've ever seen. They ingratiate themselves to you. They act like they're helpful. Be careful. If you espouse this philosophy, give your kids some skills if you want to give them that kind of freedom. Well, anyway, that's a wrap for now. Please don't forget that we always love to hear from you. Go to my host page on the voiceamerica.com website. Post your comments and suggestions to me. Tell your friends about us. Visit me on Facebook. Go to crimeprevention101.com. You can ask me questions there. And don't worry, because you and I will be doing this again next week when I'll have more stories that demand to be told, more hot crime topics, and, of course, lots of tips and resources for you. It'll be a crime not to listen, so stay tuned and stay safe.
We hope you got some useful information and inspiration this week on Crime Prevention 101. Susan Bartelstone invites you to join us again next Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern Time here on Voice America. If you want to learn more about Susan's guest, sign up for her newsletter, or find out about upcoming teleseminars and workshops, go to www.crimeprevention101.com today. Have a great week and a safe week.